What's going on, guys? In this video I'll show you how to use carbon fiber vinyl to make custom door handle accents to go from something like this to something like this. So I'll start by going over the tools and supplies you'll need for this project. We'll then move into the video tutorial walkthrough, and then at the end of the video I'll talk about how much it might cost you for this project in terms of material costs as well as time. With that, let's take a quick look at the tools and supplies you'll need so you can go ahead and get started with this project. Starting from left to right, just here we have a bottle of alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, mixed with some water. It's about a 30% water to 70% alcohol ratio. Here I just have a utility knife, a snap-off blades, 30-degree snap-off blades. This is a micro squeegee and this is a regular squeegee, and these are this one is for laying down the vinyl. In this case, you won't really need a squeegee per se. It's handy to have on hand because you can lay it down with your fingers. This is a micro squeegee, which is good for tucking in vinyl into areas such as in between the handle and the door. In this case, I'll be using a product called Knifeless tape to help make clean cutting lines without cutting or using the knife directly on the body of the car. You can order all these things online, and I'll leave links in the description below. And of course, you'll want to have your vinyl wrap. In this case, I'm using Avery Dennison SW900. In this case, is their black carbon fiber vinyl wrap. And so those are the basic things that you'll want to have on hand to complete this project. With that, let's go ahead and get started on the tutorial portion of the video. So to begin with, you'll want to make sure that your handle is cleaned very well. Here I've got my bottle of alcohol water mixture and a microfiber cloth, and you can see that I'm going ahead and spraying down the door handle surface and the area around it to get off any dirt, dust, or debris that may find its way onto the surface area, as when you peel the vinyl it does create some static and creates a way for the dirt to get attracted to your surface area. You can see I'm getting my knifeless tape set up, and I've already laid down a top line here, and all I did was essentially start off on the side of the door about I went about 2 or 3 inches off to the side to the base of the handle, went up along the body line, or the top and bottom lines of the door handle, and you can see I'm just using a little bit of tension on the knifeless tape to kind of get my line where I want it. And then once I've got it past the door handle onto the body itself, leaving again a little extra, went and cut that off. Now I've got my piece of vinyl wrap already sized, and you want it a little bit longer and a little bit taller on both top and bottom. Make sure it fits, go ahead and start to apply it. In this case, you can just put it right on. The door handle face is pretty skinny in most cases, that you might not even need a regular squeegee to lay it down, and you can see I'm just using my fingers and it lays down just fine. From there, what I'm going to do is I am going to take my regular squeegee and start to kind of tuck it in where the vinyl meets the end of the handle and kind of goes into the door. And what I'm doing is trying to mold the end of the vinyl around the rounded edge of the door handle itself, so that it tucks in just a little bit behind the door handle edge. And you can see I'm using the hard edge of my squeegee to help out with that process. And then once I've got that set up, just kind of laying it down so that the vinyl ends cover the knifeless tape, so that I can have a good starting cut point. If you have too much, you can see I'm cut off a little bit of the excess there so that I can reach my knifeless tape so that they're sticking out on the sides there. So I've got that. I'm just using, again, my fingers and a little bit of my squeegee to kind of make sure that the vinyl wrap is pressed down very well onto the knifeless tape, so it'll cut nice and cleanly. And just like I did on the other side, you can see here in this angle a little better that I'm just lifting up the vinyl with my left hand so that I can feed in the vinyl down and around the edge of the door handle edge there. And once I've done that, mostly I'm going to take my micro squeegee, because it has a finer edge, and tuck that in nicely and tightly so that the vinyl covers the paint area all the way through, so it looks nice and clean and has full coverage of the area that I want, in this case the very end of the handle. Now once I've got that set, I'm just going to make sure that I have everything tucked in really well. There's a little rubber gasket at the base of the handle there. I'm trying to make sure that the vinyl is tucked in up and against that so that it looks nice and clean, and that the edge of the vinyl looks like the edge of the actual handle, almost like it would be with paint. Once I'm set and ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and snap my knifeless tape. You can see I kind of held it to break the yellow filament away from the carrier. Some of the carrier kind of stayed, but I just break that apart. When I reach a starting point, I like to put my finger to hold it there so it doesn't lift the vinyl when I pull through. And go ahead and just pull your knifeless tape all the way through, and you can see that it cut right through the vinyl in a nice clean line. Now your knifeless tape has been cut into two pieces because I peeled one of the green halves of the tape. The filament splits it in half lengthwise, and now I'm peeling off the other half, which is a little bit under the vinyl, and then now I'm just using my finger to go ahead and smooth down the vinyl that got lifted up when I pulled out the other half of the green knifeless tape carrier. So I'm going to do the same process on the top side there. As you can see, I just broke the carrier from the filament from the carrier, pulling the filament all the way through the vinyl, pulling out the vinyl that's excess now, along with one of the green knifeless tape halves, and then pulling off the other half, which is still under the edge of the vinyl. And then I'm going to smooth that down afterwards to make sure that it's laid down and set nice and tightly, that there's no air gaps, and that the vinyl is adhered very well on the edges. Next, I'm just going to do one last quick tuck here to make sure that my edges are tucked in, and that helps define a cut line, which is the gap between the rubber gasket and plastic or rubber gasket and the end of the actual door handle itself. And I'm going to use that as my guide for my knife. You can see that I just use the tip of my knife very carefully and very slowly, just cut that right along that gap. And then I'm using the other end of my micro squeegee to make sure everything is tucked in. I'm going to do that on the other side of the handle. So essentially I'm going to do the same thing, make sure that my edge of the vinyl is tucked in between the end of the handle and the plastic or rubber gasket that's underneath that end of the handle. Once I'm confident or feel that it's ready to go, I'm going to take my knife and just very carefully and very slowly go ahead and put the tip of the knife in between that gap and cut my vinyl off, the excess vinyl off, and then I'm going to use my micro squeegee to tuck that in and make sure it's set well. The last part of this piece here is to go ahead and cut in between the end of the cap and the handle itself of the door handle. And then once I've done that, just put my blade straight through the side there, taking my micro squeegee to tuck down. Essentially, there's a little bit of vinyl on both halves of that. Tuck that down and make sure it's pressed in nice and well so that there are no edges sticking up or poking up. And so this is essentially fully complete. It's quick and simple, super easy. Took about 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes. Taking my time here. When you're all said and done, clean up the area, maybe give it a quick wipe down. I like to apply a little bit of heat using my heat gun or a torch afterwards to make sure that the vinyl is set. And if you have any loose edges, the heat will will reveal that to you right away. So I'm just taking a quick look over, make sure everything's nice and tucked down. If heat did make anything pop up, go ahead and fix it. And guys, for all intents and purposes, you now have a wrapped handle face with carbon fiber. So now that I've shown you how to do the carbon fiber vinyl accents on your car door handles, let's talk a little bit about costs for the project in terms of material costs and the time it will take you to do each of these handles. The biggest portion of cost in terms of material for this project is your vinyl. In this case, I used Avery Dennison SW900. It's their automotive series vinyl wrap cast. It's a really good vinyl, but I will warn you, it is a little bit more expensive compared to other competitors out there. This is the roll that I had on hand. You could buy this, and I'll leave description or links in the description below. But a 1 foot by 5 foot roll, which should be more than enough to wrap your door handles. A 1 foot by 5 foot roll is about $30 for this particular brand. Again, it's a good brand. It's a good vinyl. It is a brand name, so in my opinion, that's probably why this is a little bit more expensive. There are other alternatives out there. In fact, the one that I like and the one that I actually might recommend is this one right here, which is by Vivid True R Carbon Fiber Vinyl Wrap. I actually like this one a lot better because, in my opinion, when you lay it down, it looks more like real carbon fiber vinyl than the Avery does, believe it or not. It's also about half the price. So 1 foot by 5 foot roll of this will run you about $15. And again, a 1 foot by 5 foot roll of carbon fiber vinyl is way more than sufficient to wrap your car's door handles. I've had very good experience with Vivid's True R carbon fiber vinyl wrap. I've been using it for years now. It looks great, it holds up, it's super durable, and it removes very easily. And I have different videos on my channel showing you the use of carbon fiber vinyl, in particular Vivid's True R, as well as removing it as well. Now, you don't have to get that. There's other ones. If you notice that the Vivid and the Avery looked a little bit kind of dry, they do replicate more of a dry carbon fiber look. You can get Vivid offers this one, which is their Tech Art carbon fiber vinyl, and this is more of a high gloss, intended to look like a clear coat version of carbon fiber. And this looks really real as well, The Tech Art is a little bit more expensive than their True R versions by a couple of dollars per 1 foot by 5 foot roll. I will tell you though, this one, the adhesive on this is way more sticky, and so that's just something to consider with that. And then you can also get generic carbon fiber, you know, your 3D, your 4D, your 5D. I've even seen like 8D on eBay and Amazon for generic carbon fiber vinyl wraps. This one I bought off of eBay for I think like $4.99 for a 1 foot by 5 foot roll. It's okay. You can see that. See this white stripe right here? That's basically the vinyl has, over the last year that I've had this just sitting in my basement, has shrunk. That's how much this vinyl has shrunk. And so there's a little bit of truth in you get what you pay for. Again, with the Avery, any brand name like Avery or 3M or Vivid, you'll probably get better results, better quality overall for the money you're spending over a generic, you know, $4.99 vinyl wrap versus one that costs, you know, $15 or $30 for the same amount. Okay, so now that we've talked about how much this might cost you to do in terms of material costs, let's talk about how long this project should take you to do in total if you're going to do, let's say, 4 handles. So in the walkthrough portion of the video, you saw that it took me about, I think, 6 minutes or so to do that. And that's pretty average, I would think, just for doing something quick and easy like this. The longest part of the time doing this project really was making sure that my knifeless tape lines were straight and in the fashion that I wanted them to be. And so 5 to 6 minutes per handle. You know, this depends on your skill level, how comfortable you are with using vinyl wrap and knifeless tape, how clean or how dirty your handles are. Say, you know, I know that there's white grease behind the handle sometimes, and that may or may not work its way out. People might have lotion on their hands when they're holding the handle, it gets on the handle. So you want to make sure you clean that off. So you might have a couple minutes or seconds extra on cleaning and prep for the handles. Also add in maybe a minute or two to transition between each handle there. So let's say it takes you anywhere from 6 minutes to 15 minutes. Either way, you can have this project done, all 4 handles, door handles on your car done in about half an hour to under an hour, really, to give your car a really cool, subtle, unique look using carbon fiber vinyl wrap on your door handles as accents. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope it was helpful, informative, and value added for you. If you did, please do me a solid. Give it a thumbs up to show that you like this video. And also, if you haven't already, please consider hitting subscribe and then that bell notification button so you get notices whenever I post new content to the channel. I've got more projects and videos on the way for you, and I'd love to share those with you. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day.